Hello, this is Neil from mypaintgirls.com, and we're going to be doing a very boring subject, and that is perspective. It's boring, but it's necessary, and you probably realize that, and that's why you're here. When I went to school and I was doing perspective, I just spaced out, and I drew naked chicks, and I drew eyeballs, and whatever, I drew kung fu characters. I just didn't pay attention was the point. So really, you want to pay attention to perspective. You want to learn perspective because if you want to do anything and you want to draw quickly, you need to know perspective. You can't rely on like things like SketchUp and stuff all the time. There are times where you need to know perspective. So let's go ahead and get busy with it then. First thing we're going to do is single point perspective. It's pretty easy. And so with this here, I was just doing as a railroad track going off into the distance. And anyway, I'm going to go ahead and delete that though. I'll show how to do it in just a second, but first I just want to show some basic principles working with 2-point perspective. I need to unlock that, working with 2-point perspective. So the first thing we do is we start out with our horizon line. I'm going to use this line tool. The horizon line just has to be somewhere on your image, obviously. It obviously works better if it's kind of towards the center or towards the bottom. It really doesn't matter as long as it's somewhere not too far up, too far down. Then you get really weird type of drawings. I'm going to make a point somewhere on here. I'll just do it right here. That'll be my vanishing point. I'm now going to zoom in a bit here where you can see more of what's on screen. Right, so the basic idea with single point perspective is that all horizontal lines stay horizontal, vertical lines stay vertical, and all lines that aren't that way stay, they stay parallel with each other. I almost said perpendicular. They stay parallel with each other. I'll show you what I mean for that makes sense. So first thing we'll do is we'll draw a square down here just so we get the idea. Draw a square on the horizon and draw a square above the horizon. And then I'm going to draw another shape over here, and I'm going to just slightly turn it if I can show you what I'm talking about before. Right, then I'm going to make a new layer just because I'm going to lock that one just so I can show the guidelines. I'll have the guidelines be in red. Then you draw the corners of your objects, and this isn't going to be perfect, but I'll try and make it as close as possible. When we do the railroad tracks, I have to really zoom in. It has to be perfect, otherwise the end results aren't right. So you just draw all the corners as I'm doing here too, and notice that one was not perfect at all. Oops, that one's way off. I got to at least try to make it look somewhat presentable, like so. Now the thing that's important here, I'm going to go back to this layer, and then I'll go back to black. The thing that's important to remember when doing perspective like this, so what I was saying with the lines that are perpendicular, I almost said it, that are parallel to each other, notice they're not horizontal vertical, but these lines will stay parallel as it goes down into space, and then those lines too will stay parallel, and so that's actually going to come way up like that. So you keep that down. It has to go up even more. It has to be totally parallel. It almost won't even be there anyway. So these lines stay vertical, obviously, because that's vertical. So notice they're parallel with each other. Now the thing to remember when working with perspective is when you're above the horizon line, you're going to see the bottom of the object. When you're on the horizon line, you won't see the bottom nor the top of the object, the bottom or the top. And when you're below the horizon, you'll see the top of the object. Now this is important when drawing a person because let's say her waist was a little bit below the horizon, and depending on how below the horizon will determine the curvature of this, but her waist, let's say her pants, if she's below the horizon, her pants are going to be like so. If she's above the horizon, her pants are going to be like so. So that's important to remember. Same thing with sleeves on an arm, whatever. If arm's above the horizon, which usually it is, then like that. When the arm's below, like so. When it's on the horizon, it's pretty much straight. So just remember that you know where you're looking at the person that you're drawing. Okay, so we can pretty much get rid of almost all of that. I'm going to get rid of that layer altogether, and then I'm going to get rid of these shapes here. We don't need them anymore. And now going on with the railroad, because we're going to learn an important technique that you use no matter what perspective you're working in. This technique is something you use often. So we have that railroad, right? So we're going to go like so, make our V for our railroad that's going to the vanishing point. I'm going to zoom in to make sure I can make this as perfect as possible. Next, I'm going to have the the metal part that the tires of the train, whatever you want to call them, run on, like so. Then we need a horizontal line. Anywhere, it doesn't matter, just need to start with your wood plank. Then you need another one, so just kind of estimate about how far apart you want them to be. So something like so. We'll make a new layer to demonstrate this next part here. Okay. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Right, so anyway, the next thing you do then, I don't know what that line is there. Is that on the other layer? How come I can't? Oh, never mind, it's gone. I don't know what it was. Okay. Try that again, just wasted all that time. Anyway, so what you do now is you draw an X, and you have to be pretty precise with this, so that's why I'm zoomed in. You draw an X from these 2 points between the 2 lines. That makes the center. Now from the horizon line, not the horizon line, but from the vanishing point, draw a line that goes right through the center of that point there, like so. Now this part gets a little bit confusing, so what's important to remember is you did an X between the 2 lines you just drew. And then you did a line that intersects the center of that. So now you know the center of the box. So if you wanted to draw a circle, a perfect circle would actually fit in here like so, if this was a perfect square, which it's not. But even in perspective it could be, but it's not, because they're not perfectly squared, when they're the rectangle, the space between beams on a railroad track, a rectangle. Anyway, to draw a circle, you just kind of draw it within like that. Make sure that the corners all match each of the parts. So with something like Illustrator, it's really easy to draw it because you just go from corner to corner. And actually, I didn't do that right, but then you can just resize it to where everything fits. All the corners are touching like so. Then you have a perfect circle, not in this case a perfect oval within that. So that's something that's important to know when you want to get perfect circles within things. Okay, so pick either corner. The line that you drew that's furthest away from the vanishing point, pick either corner. I'm going to pick the left corner and draw a line from that corner where the next line that we drew, the next black line, intersects the middle line. So you draw a line from there, intersecting that line, and then all the way over to this side over here. Now you know the point, the distance at which it's at. Then you draw a horizontal line going across like that. That horizontal line is actually going to be black, and I'll do in black in just a second. I just want to show how this works. So boom, boom, like that. Then come back up one more line. So after you draw the horizontal line, come back up one. Start from that corner, and this has to be perfect, so I'm trying to get it perfect. Cross that next center line just like we did before, all the way over to here. Then come across, step back one, and continue that process. And try and make this as perfect as possible. Right, so now we have those lines. Now I'm going to draw black lines, or I can just change each one of these lines if I wanted to black. And this is actually like so. And then I'm going to delete the red lines. Right, so now the space between each of these lines is equal in perspective, and they'll keep getting thinner and thinner as they go back. And you can actually witness this when you look at a railroad track that goes off in the distance, that the equally spaced lines get closer and closer together as it goes back. Right, so the next thing we need to do is I'm going to go on back to my black layer, and I'm going to use a black color, and I want to make another horizontal line. And you know what, to demonstrate this, I'm going to use blue just to make it easier to see. And I'm almost out of time. I'm going to make my planks about this thick. I'm going to kind of wing this one. It's going to be pretty much the same thickness, so just pretty much kind of make them about the same thickness, just a little bit thinner. I think there's a way to determine that exactly, but I can't remember, so I don't want to be bothered with it right now. Now I'm going to get red again, so I can demonstrate what I'm going to do here. We're going to do the exact same thing we did before. Make a X between these two blue lines now. Okay, that's not perfect. It's really got to be as perfect as possible, otherwise it doesn't look right. Draw a line up the center, pick either side. I'll pick this side this time. Then run through that line there, through that center part, and like so. Then draw, what the hell? I'm going to do it from this side for some reason. doing it on that side ain't working because it's making it hard for me to see what I'm doing when my pin's in the way because I'm using this Cintiq. And what am I hitting, the wrong button or something? Okay, let's see. It's this has to be, you have to like really be perfect with this, because if not, see that I wasn't perfect enough before, so I have to kind of come off a little bit. Actually, hold on a second. I need to go to here first. I need to intersect that line. Oh, never mind. Yeah, this is right. See, it's not, it shouldn't be that thick. See, I'm a little bit off. I just need to zoom in more. I wasn't zoomed in enough. So you can see these lines. Anyway, that's how it works. So I'm out of time, but if I would have zoomed in more and been more precise with each placement of each line, these lines would have been absolutely perfect. They're not quite perfect, but they're pretty close, and they'll keep getting thinner. Each board will get thinner as it goes back. So that's how you do that. Thanks for watching. Leave comments. Appreciate it.